Good morning, Year 6. Miss Owen here for your next reading skills session. This is the last one I'm linking to the ancient Egyptians, and this one is an information text, and it's titled Tutankhamun, and it's all about King Tutankhamun or King Tut, who was a pharaoh of ancient Egypt, and he was very young when he ruled. And so this is an information text about him, and we're actually looking into him when it comes to topic as well. So again, useful for our topic sessions. Anyway, let's make a start. So, Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun is one of the most famous ancient Egyptian pharaohs. His gold burial mask is one of the most iconic images from the period. A boy king, born in Akhenaten, around 1346 BC, Tutankhamun became pharaoh at the age of 9. He was often referred to as the boy king of ancient Egypt. He reigned during the 18th dynasty of the Egyptian period, and we've talked about dynasties in our topic sessions. This was when the empire was at its height, so when the empire was really thriving. Life and death. Ancient Egypt was a dangerous place to be king. Tutankhamun died after only 9 years on the throne. At first, scientists thought he might have died from a head injury. New evidence suggests that he suffered from malaria and had a broken leg. Both of these combined could have weakened him enough to cause his death. Ultimately, we are unlikely to ever know the exact cause, and the reason for that is because it was so long ago. It's really hard to be completely and utterly precise. The cause of his death is unclear, and the circumstances of his birth are even less certain. He was born with the name Tutankha. I think that's how you pronounce it. This means living image of Aton. Aton was one of the Egyptian sun gods. When he grew up, Tutankhamun wanted to be known as the image of Ammon, and so changed his name when he took the throne. Ammon was the king of the gods, and so this name was much more powerful. So he actually changed his name to reflect the gods. And when we looked at that gods text last time, we could see that, or a couple of sessions ago, that it said that ancient Egyptians were devout people. The religion was a huge influence over their lives. Family life. In 2010, German scientists carried out DNA tests on several mummies who they believed were linked to Tutankhamun. Unfortunately, the evidence was inconclusive, so it was a bit hard to tell. There is evidence that Tutankhamun was the son of the reigning pharaoh Amenhotep the sixth. The name of his mother is unknown, but scientists think it is a mummy known as a young lady. If these were his parents, then DNA evidence shows that they were related as brother and sister. Marrying members of your own family was considered a good way to keep the royal blood pure during this time. Tutankhamun married his half-sister, Princess Akhenaten. These names are very hard to say. They had 2 daughters, although neither survived, and were eventually buried with their father in the Valley of the Kings. Little is known about his wife's fate after his death. Little is known about his wife after he died. Afterlife. Because Tutankhamun died suddenly, his funeral and tomb were built quickly. Despite this, he was still buried with all the other pharaohs in the Valley of the Kings. His tomb was sealed and remained undisturbed for thousands of years. In 1922, a British archaeologist named Howard Carter discovered it. I'm going to do some information about Howard Carter. The entrance of the tomb was nearly 4 meters below the entrance to the tomb of Ramesses V. Oh, sorry, 6th. Ramesses' tomb had been built at a later date on top of Tutankhamun's. So buried on top. By the time the tomb was discovered, the expedition had cost nearly £1 million. The whole thing was funded by a wealthy Englishman named Lord Carnarvon. When it was eventually found, Howard Carter had to wait 3 weeks for Lord Carnarvon to travel from England to witness the opening of the tomb. And that is there, Tutankhamun's gold head mask that was put over his body once he was mummified. Right, there we go. So let's have a look at our questions. We've got a vocabulary focus for our first little bit, and then we've got our Vipers questions underneath. So you can pause the video now and have a go at those questions. Okay, and here we go. Here are the answers. We've got obviously the answers to the vocabulary focus at the top, and then we've got our answers to our Vipers questions underneath. Hope you've enjoyed this session. I hope you've enjoyed reading through the text to do with ancient Egypt. I thought they were quite nice to give us a bit more extra information when it came to our topic. And I'll see you next week for another reading session. Bye!